The views expressed on the Nova Society are those of the panelists and guests and do not necessarily reflect the views or opinions of the Phoenix Research Institute or any institution which any panel member is associated. Reproduction or dissemination, other than for the purpose of education or information without the express written permission of the Phoenix Research Institute or Nova Society Media, is strictly prohibited. Welcome back to the Nova Society, and today Brooklyn brings up a point that some government officials in the Trump administration have mentioned, that they have proof, that they have documentation and intelligence that says that the entire problem of fentanyl comes from Canada. So we're going to discuss that. Let's listen in. All right, what do we got next?
Fentanyl. And we have information, and we have intelligence, and we have photographs. And where is all this stuff coming from?
All right, so who said that?
We have this, we have
that. Who said they have intelligence, and who said they had photographs?
Is that Hessig? Hold on a second.
All right, so wait, it's one of two people. It's either Scott Bessent, who's the Treasury Secretary, or it's Kevin Hassett. I think that's the guy you mean, Kevin Hassett, because I saw him, and he's one of these guys who smiles and lies very easily. And he got on CNN and just told one lie after another, ridiculous stuff.
He said
they're used to Fox, where they don't get called out on these things, and I think his assertion that first of all, that there are gangs that are running these states, U.S. states, are being run by gangs is crazy talk, right? That's like straight out QAnon stuff, and some other things that he was talking about on the Canadian side of the border are all these Mexican gangs that are, running labs and things like that. Look, let's be real for a second, okay? This is not about fentanyl. Trump couldn't care less about fentanyl. The more people that die in fentanyl, the happier he probably is. He doesn't care about fentanyl one bit. And there's no logic to thinking that if we cut fentanyl coming from Mexico and Canada and China off, that people who want to buy fentanyl won't find a way to get it here. I mean, that is a ridiculous idea, right? And you can get anything in the United States. You can get anything you want in New York City anytime you want it. And so, the idea that somehow or another all these drugs are imported to the United States because we don't have a domestic fentanyl industry here is again, crazy stuff, right? I mean, we've had plenty of meth labs. There's plenty of people producing synthetic drugs all the time. Maybe the chemicals are hard to get, but I'm sure there's ways to get them, and they'll find a way. As long as the demand is high, a supplier will be out there to supply it. So these are nothing but excuses by the Trump government. They're all over the map when it comes to tariffs. I mean, tariffs were supposed to replace the income tax. Well, how are you going to do that when the president, every time the stock market goes down, backs away from another tariff? You can't back down on income tax. You can't, if this is the way you're going to try to fund the government, if this is your revenue stream is going to come from tariffs, then those tariffs have to be persistent and they've got to be pretty high. Eventually what you're going to have is you're going to have people building more in the United States, which the movement started during the pandemic when we realized that we were too overly reliant on supply chains from other countries and across seas. And we are going to have to produce more stuff. There's no reason to produce things here if we have to pay more money for them, right? And I think we all understand the idea that if tariffs raise the price of an imported car, then a U.S. built car that is similar, the price of that will go up because that is what the market will bear. And these, basic economic principles apply whether you like them or not. And the fact remains that tariffs are not the most beautiful word in the language, and it is not something that needs to be played with by somebody who's as insane as Trump and as unhinged as Trump is. He doesn't know why he's doing it. He doesn't know what it's for. He doesn't know who pays for them. He doesn't know who he's hurting or who he's not hurting. And frankly, he doesn't care. The reason that we builds cars partially in Canada and other places is because the cost of US healthcare for companies adds about 60% of the cost of a car to the car. And so if you can build a piece of the car in even low wage countries or high wage countries, right? And they have dealt with their national healthcare issue in a better way than we have, since like 1870, then you're better off importing that than you are building it here. Because it's not the cost of the car, it's not the cost of the material, it's not even the cost of the workers. All of those are ridiculous ideas. It is that 60% of a car, the cost of a car that's built in America, goes to healthcare for the workers who are building the car, because we're too stupid to have Medicare for all here in this country.
Correct. And if you want verification for that, look at the American university system. Adjunct professors are the backbone of the university system in the United States. Why adjunct professors? Because they don't have to pay healthcare costs. So all they're paying for is teaching the course, and they're saving on the healthcare costs. So, it all kind of, it does roll together. And, Scott's correct when he says this isn't about fentanyl. What's coming across from Canada is nothing compared to, other places. And the thing that gets me is now it's, well, those Mexican gangs are controlling states. What state? Show me the state that's being controlled. Show me how let's talk to the governor of that state and see if his place is actually being controlled. Hey, governor, is your state under the control of, these Mexican cartels and stuff? I don't think you're going to find too many governors, including red state governors, are going to say, oh, yeah, I've seeded it all. And, yeah, I just have to do what, Julio tells me to do. Nobody's going to say that. So people come out there and you ever notice they never are specific? Which state? Now, they could say Canada because basically, okay, how are you going to check that? But they aren't on. It's just stupidness. And the problem is, and Scott's correct, that we have never dealt with some of the issues that we have to deal with. Tariffs are not the most beautiful word in the English language. Impeachment and kicking his ass out is a beautiful statement. That would be a beautiful statement. I would go with that. But the fact is that we are reaping the rewards of not having a system in the United States that understands that healthcare is a right. It is not just a way to make money. And anybody that goes to these other countries that have universal health care, doctors are still pretty well paid. They are still pretty well paid. They're not on the poor line. They're not, getting food stamps or anything. So this concept of we're saving money, it's ridiculous. And it's like anything else. Trump said he built a wall. Well, he didn't build a wall. These guys that come out there on to CNN and yes, they don't like the pushback when they get checked, but they just continuously lie because the American people, on the whole, those that support Trump for these reasons, for whatever reason, I'm sorry, people. And if there's Trump supporters out there listening, and I'm sure there are because I do get emails from some of them, you're an idiot. And, Dad always told me, never argue with crazy people or idiots. So whatever.
The Nova Society is a production of Nova Society Media, a division of the Phoenix Research Institute. We'd like to thank our production partners, Buzzsprout, who hosts the Nova Society, Audacity, our editing partners, Apple iTunes, the largest source of podcasts and music on the internet, Spotify, the most popular platform for the Nova Society, and iHeartRadio, your source for all things music and podcasting. The Nova Society is available on all of these and other quality platforms listed in our description. We'd also like to thank all of our listeners. Without your support, the Nova Society would not be possible. If you have a question or a comment, we can be reached at nova.society.podcast@gmail.com.
So for Dr. Brooklynn Ann Weldon, Dr. Priscilla Hobbs, Dr. Scott Gershwer, and all of us here at the Nova Society, I'm Dr. Mark Bound. Remember, the true power in society is knowledge. Thanks for listening, and we will see you again next time. We'd like to thank our sponsor for this episode, BH Conflict Resolution Services, a full-service dispute resolution firm offering expert and cost-effective mediation services to couples, groups, and businesses. BHCRS can be reached at www.bhcrs.com.